Welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are introducing our brand new stamp set, Costume Party, and its coordinating dies. This set is so cute for not only Halloween cards but also year-round cards too. So let's go ahead and check it out. So first up we have this cute little witch. We also have a mummy, and then a kid in a cute pumpkin costume. We have a kid in a unicorn costume, and of course we have a dino costume too. We have a pumpkin, and then we have all of these accessories for these guys. So we have a broom, a roll of toilet papers for someone who wants to do some tricks, a little jack-o'-lantern trick-or-treat bucket, a bowl of candy, both a king size and a fun size chocolate bar, and another little candy, and of course a candy corn too. And then we have two faces that you can add to those little pumpkins there, which I really love, and then some great sentiment. So we have Hope Your Halloween Is, and Have a, and then we have Magical and Sweet. And then we have You're Totally, which can go with magical or sweet, and Rarsome. And then we have king sized, happy, and then Halloween in two different styles. So all of these are mix and match. And then we also have the word day for more general sentiments. And then we have trick or treat with either an exclamation point or a question mark. And then we've got treats, of course. So next up, I'm going to be using my Copic markers to add some color to these fun images. And I just always love coloring the witch's hat and dress in purple. I just love it so much. But I always have trouble blending my V01 with my V15 because they're kind of far apart. So I always touch that V01 marker to my V15 marker to create kind of a medium shade to help me blend those two together. And it really helps get a great look that I think is so pretty. Then I'm going to give her a little olive accents on her hat and her shoes. I just love that olive and purple together for Halloween. I think it's so pretty. And then I'll give her some black hair, and I always like to keep it nice and dark kind of under the hat and then blend it out into a little bit of a lighter gray just to make it look a little more dynamic. And then I'll color in her skin tone there, and then of course I'll give her some rosy cheeks too. Now for the mummy, I didn't want to leave him just plain white, so I'm using some really light warm grays just to give a little shadow where those little pieces of toilet paper are kind of wrapping around each other to give him just a little bit more of a dynamic look, but without adding too much color to him. And I think it just looks really cool. Now these are my three favorite colors for pumpkins. I just love them so much, and I always try to keep my pumpkins kind of lighter towards the middle so you can still really see the face of the pumpkins. You'll see I'll just be blending those in. Then I'll add a little green top there, and I decided to also give him some black hair too since I had those markers out already. I think it looks really nice. And then of course color his skin tone, and I just like adding the shading under the hair and then blending out into a lighter shade towards the bottom. Now next up we have our unicorn, and what's so fun about the unicorn is that you could color the unicorns any color that you would want. So in this case I kind of gave some rainbow hair, and I left the unicorn just plain white because I thought that would really pop. And then I just colored in the little nose of the unicorn just to give it a little extra color. Now next up we have our little dino here, and he's so cute, and I took out way more markers than I normally do. I don't know why, but I just kept kind of adding markers and adding markers to there, which I probably didn't need that many, but he did end up looking really cool, and I like him being nice and bright because I think it adds a nice pop of color to these kind of darker trick-or-treating scenes. I'm going to color in his little spikes there on his back in kind of a more olivey green to give it kind of contrast against the nice bright green, and then color in his cute little face too. And then next I'll be working on the pumpkin there, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the pumpkin costume, keeping it light towards the middle. And that's because later on I'll stamp one of those little faces, and I want to make sure that the face really kind of stands out, and I think it looks really cute that way. And then I'll just add a little green to the top, and then I get to color in all of these accessories. So I'm just doing a little dark brown for the broom, and then a little light brown for kind of the actual sweeping part of the broom and not the handle. A little warm grays for that toilet paper again, and then coloring in that pumpkin in the exact same way so that they all coordinate. And then I've got the bowl of candy, and this is really fun because depending on your scene, you could change up the colors of the candy to kind of match your scene, which is really fun. And then, of course, we're going to color in our chocolate bars. So I did the silver wrapper on the outside and then the chocolate brown there on the inside too. And then we've got this nice little individual piece of candy. And I love these little images for creating backgrounds too. I think they're really fun to do for that. Now these are the coordinating dies, and you can bend them apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate them. And then I'm just going to take my die there, line it up with my stamped image. I'm going to hold them all in place with some low tack tape, run it through my die cut machine, and then I'm going to have these perfectly die cut images, which are just so cute. I can't get over how adorable these little trick-or-treaters are. And then here you can see how you can mix and match all of their cute little accessories, kind of giving them things to hold, which is just so adorable. Now next up, I'm going to be making a card inspired by Elena because this card was so cute and I had to ask her if I could make it for the video. So here I have die cut a white piece of cardstock with my largest stitched rectangle, and then I'm also die cutting some Let's Polka in the Meadow black and white striped paper. I'm going to trim down a little 1/4 inch piece of craft cardstock, and I'm using one of my stitched borders to add some stitching onto that piece of craft cardstock so that it kind of looks like a little road or sidewalk, you'll see later. And then I'm going to die cut with that same rectangle so that the stitching goes all the way across both the white piece, my little road, and the striped piece too. Now here I've gone ahead and used the new village border die to cut the village border from some black cardstock, and I'm going to put some adhesive all along the backs of those houses, and then I've die cut the rectangles, and that's a part of the die too, out of some sticky note cardstock, which is a nice light yellow, and I'm going to layer those all behind the openings of the village border, and then when you turn it around, it's this awesome glowing kind of spooky village border, which is perfect for my trick-or-treating scene. I'm going to trim down my village border to be 5.5 inches wide, and then I've used my cute cobweb die to cut some cobwebs there out of some black cardstock, and I'm actually trimming down one of the cobwebs to make it smaller. So I'm just trimming off the outer edges and then making them just look a little clean there on the points, and I love that you can get different size cobwebs just by trimming off part of it, which gives you kind of a cool different look. And then once those are all trimmed there, they're going to look super cute in those corners. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive there to the back. I just did lots of little dots on the back since it is such a delicate die, and then I put a heavy acrylic block there on top just to hold it in place so that it dries perfectly there. Then there I've got some of that Let's Polka in the Meadow striped paper, and then my village border and that little kind of sidewalk that we created earlier. And then I also die cut from some orange cardstock the trick or treat sentiment too. So now that I kind of have things where I want, I'm going to finally start adhering them down onto my card. And so I've got that cute little border there too. And then I'll add some dots of liquid glue there to the back of that delicate trick-or-treat border and lay that in place too. Now next up, I'm going to add some foam dots to my trick-or-treaters and to all of their accessories so they really pop out from behind this scene. And I just think they're so cute. They're holding the toilet paper, which just cracks me up. And then those little trick-or-treat buckets, just so fun. And then there's a little spider in the cute cobweb set. And so I die cut that from some black cardstock. I'm just going to trim down a bit of the line there of the spider, and then I can use some adhesive to hold that in place, and it's just a really cute little finishing touch. I'm just going to add some adhesive to a card base and layer this on top, and I just love it so much. It's so cute. I love the trick-or-treaters, and that pop of aqua with that orange I think looks so cool for Halloween. Now for Halloween, I had to make a magic color slider. So I am cutting out of some new Knock on Wood orange wood grain paper the magic color slider with the oval window in it. So I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and now I've got my magic color slider pocket ready to go. Next, I'm going to be using the rectangle that's actually meant to cut the piece of acetate and that same stitched oval to cut a piece of black cardstock to be a decorative border to go over my orange wood grain to kind of give that traditional orange and black Halloween look. I'm also going to trim down a piece of white cardstock to put on the inside of my magic color slider so that I can start to stamp and color on it. So I'm going to hold that magic color slider pocket closed with some post-it note tape there, and I'm going to line it up in my Misty tool, pick up my witch stamp, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp her with some jet black ink so that I can Copic color later. Now I also need to stamp on my acetate in the same exact way. So I'm actually going to use the little track that I'm going to use later for the magic color slider to hold my piece of acetate in place. I find that it kind of stays in place better than trying to put the acetate right into the corner of the MISTI, so I really like doing this. And I'm going to add some StazOn ink, which is ink that's perfect for stamping on a slick surface like acetate, and stamp right down onto that piece of acetate. And you'll see that I'm really pressing really hard and I'm letting the ink transfer. I'm giving it a ton of time to transfer, and that's going to help give you a really nice image on that piece of clear acetate. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp it one more time so that it's really nice and bold. And so next I'm going to add her little trick or treat bucket there. So I'm going to pick it up with my MISTI, and once again I'll stamp with the jet black ink for the Copic coloring on the actual pocket, and then I'm going to use that little U-shaped piece once again to hold my acetate piece in place. And by using the MISTI, I'm going to be stamping that little jack-o'-lantern trick or treat bucket in the same exact place, so they're going to line up together perfectly. So I went ahead and colored her just the same way that I colored her in the beginning of the video, but then I'm also going to give her a whole background here too, which is really fun. So I've given her some nice dark green grass, and I'm starting out with kind of an aqua-y sky that gets darker towards the top, which I thought would be kind of spooky and look really cool for Halloween. Next up, I'm going to take some nice strong score tape and put that all the way around that oval opening. And then once I have that done, I can take my acetate piece and line it right on top of that colored witch image. Once I have it on there perfectly, I'm going to use some post-it note tape to hold it in place, and then I can peel off all of the liner tape to expose that adhesive, and then fold that whole window there shut, and you'll see that it's going to pick up that acetate piece that's been held in the perfect position. And then we can lift it right up, and then we can just peel those little post-it note pieces off, and it's going to be absolutely perfect. I've gone ahead and cut the little slider piece in that track you saw earlier from some white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp the pull here from the push here stamp set right there so that the recipient's going to know what to do. And then I'm going to take that slider piece and put it into my little pocket here, and I'm going to move it back and forth to just get it moving really nicely in that pocket so that it's going to work really well for the person that I send it to. Now I'm taking that same score tape there, and I'm going to go along all edges of this track, both on the front and on the back. Then I can peel off that liner tape and line the track on the inside of the pocket. I like to have the slider tab in there already because it's a really great guide as to where to place this U-shaped piece. I'm going to make sure that that tab's in there nice and straight, and then line up my pieces on either side of that slider tab. Then I can go ahead and peel up all of the liner tape, exposing the adhesive there on the outside, and all I need to do is just close it like a book, and that's going to form my slider mechanism. Then next I'm going to add my little decorative oval piece there to get that nice traditional orange and black, and I'll stamp Have a Magical Halloween, and I'm going to die cut it with a banner die there, but the banner die was a little bit too long, so I'm going to die cut that one piece there, and then I'm just going to line it up at the end of the sentiment again, and that's going to create a shorter kind of custom sized banner. So I'm just going to hold that in place with some post-it note tape, run it through my die cut machine, and now I have a cute little mini banner. Here I've used the new stitched wood grain backdrop die, and I've die cut some craft cardstock, and I'm just going to trim this down so that it's going to be the perfect size for my little slider mechanism. Then I'm also going to trim down a card base here too. And I am going to be adding some black licorice cardstock to this card base. I really wanted the card base to be somewhat monochromatic so that when you do the magic color slider, the color is a big surprise. So I'll layer that really cool stitched wood grain piece on there, and then I can add some foam tape to the back of my magic color slider and also to my sentiment too. And so you can see here that kind of monochromatic look, and then we're going to get the big surprise of the magic color slider. And I just it doesn't matter how many times I make one of these, it is always so cool, and I love how it really goes along with that magical sentiment too, and I think this just would make anybody smile. It's just so much fun. Now, next up, I'm going to be recreating another card by Elena, so thank you so much, Elena. And what I love about this card is that it's an everyday card, an actual non-Halloween card using this set. And of course, it has that adorable unicorn. So I stamped out a bunch of unicorns and colored them. And I also stamped out a banner from Bannertastic, and I'm going to add a super cute "You're Totally Magical" sentiment to it. And I'm going to add some really easy color using R30, R00, and a colorless blender. And I'm just blending out that really light pink into nothing in the middle, and it just adds a little extra something to the banner. I'm going to go ahead and die cut that banner, and I've also got some really pretty Watercolor Wishes paper too. I'm trimming down some white cardstock to 4 1/4 inches wide, and I'm going to die cut it using my Puffy cloud border dies. And I'm going to actually end up die cutting 4 pieces. So I have this one piece here. I'm going to find the right place for it, trim it down, and then die cut another Puffy cloud piece, kind of make a little mark and trim it down. And now I've got another one and then a 4th one, which they're just, it looks so pretty with those clouds kind of layered up. And then here I have a B0000 marker, and I'm just going to add a really light blue all around the top parts of the clouds. And then I'm going to be doing my favorite part of this. So I'm going to take a Zig glue pen and just add some glue right along that area where I added the blue marker, and I'm going to add the brand new chunky glitter to this. And I'm obsessed with this glitter because it is so pretty. It looks like it should be called unicorn glitter or something. So I'm going to layer that right on top of that line of glue, press it in, and then I can just kind of knock off that glitter there, and you get this beautiful glitter line that's just totally magical. And so I'm going to repeat that on all 4 of those pieces, and then I'll just use my little piece of scrap paper here to funnel it all back into the jar so it's ready to go for next time. Now I can go ahead and start to layer all of these beautiful glittery puffy cloud layers, which looks so pretty on that Watercolor Wishes paper kind of as the sky. And so I'll layer those all on there, and then I'm going to take a stitched rectangle frame and layer that on top just to give the card a nice finished edge. And then with foam dots, I'm going to add the banner and then all of the cute little unicorn girls there. I'm going to tuck them in behind the clouds, which I think looks really, really neat. And then here, these are just some little sequins I found in all my sequin packs, and I'm just going to layer them on, putting a little dot of glue and putting them onto the card there, and I think those stars really add that extra magical touch. Then I've got a card base for this card. I layered that on top. I added one more little star, and there you can see how beautiful that chunky glitter is, and this card is just so magical and fun, and I love that it's an everyday card, and I just can't wait to give this to someone. Now, next up, we have gorgeous cards from the design team, and this one by Shari is so clever with the toilet paper there all amongst the trees. This card by Audrey is gorgeous. I love that beautiful blended background that she created. And this card by Kristen inspired me to create my magic color slider, and I just love her fun color palette. And then here's the card by Elena that inspired me to create my card today that's just beautiful. I love this card by Elise. It's just so fun, and I love that purple sky with the stitched cloud backdrop. It's so wonderful. And then Ivy got really creative with lift the flap, and so it says trick, and then when you lift the flap, or treat, which I think is so cute with the toilet paper on the outside and then the candy on the inside. Ivy also created this non-Halloween card with this cute little shaker that says, "Have a magical day," with that fun little unicorn. And then Yanea's background, oh my gosh, is so gorgeous, and I love that trick-or-treater with the village border die. I think it looks so neat. This card by Jen is beautiful. I love the purple stitch wood grain backdrop. I think that is just stunning. And then I also love this card by Elise. Circle-shaped cards are so much fun, and I can't wait to make one just like this one. Nicole's card is just gorgeous. I can't get over that beautiful sky that she created. And Letitia's card, I love that they're all holding hands. It's just so cute. So I cannot wait to see what you guys create with Costume Party, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!